Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today I'm going to be talking about the Head Prestige line. The newest edition is called the Head Prestige Head Graphene 360 Plus Prestige line. Now, this racket, or these rackets, I deem are the hardest rackets to play with. I don't sell many of these every year, and they're getting to be less and less every year. People don't really seem to gravitate towards these rackets anymore. To give you a history of this racket, a version of this racket has been around for probably close to 30 years or more. I remember in the mid 80s, could be even early 80s, the first iteration of this racket was called the Head Director. Now, I'm gonna see if I can get a picture of that for you. It's called a Head Director, and it actually looked like a Yonex. It had the shape of a Yonex. Now, that was the first racket that ever came out in this line. It eventually, after 2-3 years into the probably mid to late 80s, became Prestige, Head Prestige. I think it was called XPE or something like that. I'll find out about that for you. But this particular racket went from the most powerful racket back in the day, because we were getting out of wooden rackets, steel rackets, to now the least powerful racket of today. So 30 some years later, it went from being the most powerful racket and graphite being like state of the art newest racket to being the least powerful racket with all the other rackets that we have on the wall now. So this, in my mind, is a dying racket. I mean, there's, like I said, people don't like to play with these anymore. They're hard to play with. If you're good, you're energetic, you have a lot of power, you run, these are great rackets. I would say a lot of people on tour use this racket, but lately I've seen less and less of that as well. People tell me it's a rendition of this racket that all the pros use, and that's why they still make it. So, but for you and me, it's hard for us to use something like this. We're going to start with the smallest and least powerful of the bunch, so which is the Head, the Prestige Mid. All right, so this guy is 93 square inches. Small head, right? The thing that saves this racket is that it is a 16 by 19, and it does have weight. All right, couple renditions ago, they made this thing like 10.5 ounces, and it didn't make any sense that they made this racket light. If you're gonna make a racket this small, you got to add weight to it, because there's going to be nothing coming through when you try to strike a hard ball, right? So they finally came to their senses and made it heavy again. So it's a 20 beam through here. That's pretty thin, right? It's got the signature grommet. It is a long piece that comes all the way, but it doesn't protect the frame, except that these bulge out a bit. I'm gonna angle it so you guys can see it. Whereas on the other ones, it actually covers the whole thing. If I were them, I would have just done that full head guard. Yeah, because strung weight on this thing is 335 grams. So even at 335 grams, it's still probably lacking. So if you can tote this racket and play with it at 335, I'll bet you can use it at 340, which is what adding that extra head guard would do to this racket. But if you've ever played with this, the mid, it's tough. It's tough. It's a soft racket. Feels solid when you hit it right, but you gotta hit it right. So for all you Pro Staff 85 Sampras guys, this might be softer than that actually, because of how it's built, but it's in that realm. Hard to play with. So if you've never tried it, try it. It's the closest thing to like a wooden racket or a steel racket as you can get on this market today. Now, next we got the Mid Plus. All right. So this one's bigger. It is bigger, 98 square inches. Right. It does have the signature grommet that goes all the way down to the throat to protect the racket. All right, all the way around. For all you stringers out there and all you beginner stringers, even advanced stringers, this is our most hated racket, isn't it? Whenever we see one of these prestiges, we get the, really? This racket again? Like, I know all my stringers hate this racket, so I wind up doing them. I don't mind them anymore because I've been doing it for so long, and I have hacks of doing this racket. If you want me to do a hack on this racket, let me know. I have ways to do this racket that makes it a lot easier for you guys. So, I mean, let me know in the comments if you want me to do that, okay? Because I can do this pretty quick now. All right? So 98 square inches on an 1820. So aside from that mid, this is the next hardest racket to play with. Although the head is bigger, right? It's not easier because they made the strings dense. It's got good weighting at a little over 330, but still very, very flexible on a 20 millimeter beam still. So a little bit of help here, but not much, not much. Like I said, these rackets, or these two rackets, are the softest rackets in the headline. So you got to know what you're doing in order to play with these. All right. Now we get to the Prestige Pro. Now this is the best selling racket in the Prestige line. Now, why is that? Well, it's actually a smaller head. I was a little shocked at that too. It's a 95 square inch head, right? On a 16 by 19, but with a slightly wider beam. So this is the Head Prestige Tour, which they added to the line, I think 2 generations ago. When they first showed me this racket and had me try it, I was like, why did you add this to the line? It doesn't make any sense. You go from these control rackets to your best selling one to one that's kind of like, why? You know, it doesn't make sense in the line. It's a 99 square inch head, 21.5 millimeter beam, on an 18-19 string pattern. This racket really doesn't belong in the line. They have so many more rackets that are kind of the same, but they decided to add a cheater racket to the Prestige line. You know, it's kind of like a Speed MP, Speed Pro, in disguise on a Prestige frame. I didn't understand it. I don't sell many of these at all, but it's the easiest one to play with out of the bunch. So maybe that's why, you know, they wanted to kind of rejuvenate the line with people who could actually play with a racket that looks like a Prestige. That's my guess of why they added this one to the line. But It kind of makes no sense because usually the Prestige is the Control Pro line. If you've tried any of these rackets, if you want to try any of these rackets, this is probably the one to start with because this is easy compared to the rest of these. There's supposedly an S version of this Prestige 2, but not in America. That's my guess because they're telling me that there's an S version, but I don't have it. It's not in my catalog, so I'm guessing maybe it's a European exclusive. America don't play with S, so yeah, I don't know. A lot of you guys have actually been asking me about clay. There's no clay courts out here where I am, so when I review things, they're going to be hard court shoes and stringing for hard court, because like clay out here is very rare. You pretty much have to have your own court and bring in your own clay to have a clay court. So yeah, so it's pretty much just hard court out here, just like, you know, US Open. All right. My personal experiences with this racket, and I try out every racket that comes out before they come out. So historically, when I've tried these particular rackets, they are hard to play with. I do try to string them a little on the lower side just to give me a little more power, but I pretty much only have about an hour's worth of energy with these before I start getting knocked off the court. But the one thing that annoys me, besides being, you know, low power, is, you know, whenever I grip one of these, it has that signature head grip shape. You know, it's kind of more rectangular and flatter on this side. So when I have my, you know, extreme Western grip like that, I feel a lot of this come into my palm, right? So it actually makes it harder for me to you know, bring it up like that. I'm way more used to like a Wilson type of grip, which is a little more squared off. So do you guys like this grip? Can you get used to this? Let me know about that. So this latest edition of the Graphene 360 Pro Prestige. See, I don't understand why you naming it all this mumbo jumbo. It's a Prestige, man. I know it's got the Graphene 360 plus BS and all this stuff. It's all marketing. There's no way you can put that much graphene in this thing. So it's all marketing and something to sell a name, okay? Like titanium. Really? You gonna make a racket titanium? How much titanium was in there? Like 1/10 of a gram? You know, so it's a Prestige, guys. Head. It's a Prestige, okay? So according to Head, okay, it's got graphene all the way around, which is 360, okay? So, but there ain't all that graphene in here, okay? And then the plus, okay? The 360, and then the plus is those spiral fibers, okay? Like, see my fingers? Spiral fibers in the shoulders, okay? To make it have more feel and stability, okay? I kind of believe in that, okay? So in here, they could do some bullshit to give you a little more power, stability, okay? I believe in that. But Graphene 360, come on, guys. Just freaking call it a Prestige. Prestige version 20, okay? Or Prestige Graphene Plus. I don't know. But this, like, naming bullshit is like getting ridiculous here. Like, why don't just, like, if you look online, this thing's called what? Come on. Head, Graphene, 360 Plus, Prestige, and then whatever it is, mid plus, pro, tour. Okay, well, it's too freaking long, dude. How many names you need? So just to sum it up, Prestiges in my opinion, is a dying breed. I mean, I sell less and less of these every year. I mean, I may sell 24 of these a year, like within the whole line. So, yeah, I don't see a big future, if any future, for this line. But they still continue it, and it's still been going on for, I would say, 35 years now. So, but if you have any questions, do you play with a Prestige? Let me know. If you have any other suggestions, let me know. Thanks for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.